oh goody, it's time for our story. I can hardly wait. I'm glad to get out of that trunk. You know, I tell you, we just got a bunch of stories, and we just run out one a week. That's right, Chelsea, we run out one a week, and so we're glad for this Sunday afternoon as our Bible story time. Right now, it's a little after 4 o'clock, and you know, I tell you what, I'm gun hold ready to go. This gospel train is chugging at the track, chugging at the track, it's chugging at the track. This gospel train is chugging at the track, chugging to the glory land, and get on board this gospel train. Yes, you can, yes, you can. Get on board this gospel train. Yes, you can, yes, you can. Who can, Chesley? You're the one that loves the Lord and wants to serve Him. That's it. Love the Lord, want to serve Him and be like Him. And you read God's Word and just night. That's right, Chesley. That's what we do. So we got a train load of stories and we just tell one a week. That's right, Chesley. We've got a whole train load. The Bible is full of wonderful Bible stories. You know, this one is Uncle Abraham to the rescue. Uncle Abraham to the rescue. You know, Chelsea, there comes times we can maybe get in a situation where you need some help. You need a rescuer. Yes, we need a rescuer. You know, it's so good when somebody helps us. And sometimes you get stuck somewhere. That's right, Chelsea, you can get stuck somewhere. I remember years ago we had a neighbor boy that he got stuck one time. He got his head stuck. Oh, what did he do? Well, Chelsea, he had looking behind they had a deep freeze, and he was looking behind the deep freeze, and somehow he managed to get his head in as he's there between the deep freeze and the wall. And so he went to get out, and he was stuck. I know what hit in his head grew. I don't know, his head grew. I don't know, but Chesley, he couldn't get out. And I remember how the family called us, and so my dad went down, was able to move the freezer just enough that he could get his head out. You know, otherwise he'd have been stuck there having to live there and eat there. No, Chesley, he wasn't going to live there. Somebody was going to rescue him. But Chesley, we need a rescue one way or another. But Uncle Abraham to the rescue is the title of our story. You know, we later knew this man Abram as Abraham, but before the Lord changed his name, he was known as Abram. And this time in our story, in Genesis chapter 14, this is when he was still named Abram. You know, I tell you something. This is going to be a good one. And tell me now, what is going on? And I want to say, welcome! Glad everyone's here. That's right, Chesley. We want to welcome everybody that is here. And you know, Chesley, there's others that watch later because, you know, we keep these up on Facebook. They're there all the time. And then we put them on YouTube and Rumble and Twitter. That's right. We put them on those other places so others can see. We get the good word of the Lord out. Now, Chesley, as we said in Genesis chapter 14, we're going to talk about a man. It's going to the rescue. Abram to the rescue. Uncle Abram to the rescue. Well, then this time, this man needed a rescue. Let's just give a little background to this story. Abram, he had some brothers, and one of his brothers died, and he had a son named Lot. And so this is his nephew. Yes, this is Abram's nephew, and so he took this boy, would be like an orphan. He took him, probably would like to raise. And so he just took him under his wing, and he was going to help him. Yes, he was going to help him, do everything he could for him. But you know, Abram had an encounter with the Lord, and he recognized that God was the one true God, and he was wanting to serve Him and do for Him whatever the Lord wanted him to do. And so here he was, he had moved out, and here he had taken Lot with him. You know, was he rich, and what was he doing? What kind of job? Well, they had livestock, you know, they had animals, and so they were very busy, and Abram became very, very rich, and he had Lot with him, helping him, and Lot had a bunch of livestock, and then they got to think, well, I tell you what, the herdsmen did begin to argue and fuss because they didn't have enough room. There wasn't enough room for everybody. And somebody's got to go. It's that kid. Well, Chesley, let's don't be like that. You know, they did need more room, but there was plenty of land. There was room, but so there was no use to fuss. And this is what Abram said. He found out, he told Lot, let's don't have this. He said, well, you know, we don't want us to start fussing. They're fussing. You know, and next thing you know, it's going to be growing. You don't know what's going to be a battle. You know, Chesley, it's possible it could have been a battle. And Abram was a very wise man, and he said, before this gets any worse, he said, we need to make a decision here. He said, look at all of the land out here. Yeah, he said, hey, look at that. We can do something. We can split up. That's right. And the men agreed that we can split up here. And so here was Abram. He was the oldest. And so, you know what? He should, he should have said, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do, and you can take the rest. Well, he could have done that. He could have done. That's exactly what he could have done. done. That's what he should have done. Well, Chesley, I don't know about that, but Abram, here's the way, what he decided. He said, I tell you what, you make your choice first, whichever way you want to go. If you want this land over here, he said, that's fine, then I'll take this. He said, well, that's how we'll work that out. And you know something, I think because Lot, he's the younger, right? Yeah, he is the youngest. And what do you think about that? I think he should have said, it's you make your choice first, and then he takes second. I think that would have been a good thing. But he didn't. What, as Uncle Abram said, you make the first choice. And so he did. And what did he do? Well, Chesley, he looked, and he was thinking, wow, I've got all this livestock. I think this might have been how he was thinking. Look at all this livestock here, and look at that, the well-watered plains of Jordan. Yo, he said, look at that. That'd make my job easy. He looked right. They're well watered. He was thinking about wells are there. I'm not going to have to be digging wells. And I think he was thinking, oh, look at the lush green pastures. It looks like I got it made. That's what I'm going to do. And here was older Uncle Abraham. I think he should have been nice, but he wasn't thinking about nice. I think he was thinking about just getting rich, maybe. But anyway, Abram said, that's okay. Whichever you take, the Lord is going to be with me. And that's right. That's what you can't lose when you're working for God. You can't lose when you put God first. And he did. He would have a relationship with the Lord. It was not just that, he just knew about God. It was just he loved the Lord. And he would build an altar to the Lord of worship. And so he was going to trust the Lord. That's what happened. And so that's what happened. And so they went. So that's what they split up that day. And so here we have Abram. He was right in the mountain. And it was hard work. And that kid should have chose this. Well, he didn't, Chesley. So there was no fussing about that. What happened was that Abram just took what he had, and the Lord spoke to him about this and how he was going to bless him. God saw what was doing. He knew this whole thing. He knew that he knows from the end, from the beginning, and he knew what was going to happen here. And he was so happy that he could tell Abraham, I'm going to be with you. I'm going to bless you. What? It didn't matter where he was. God was there. God was everywhere, and he knew the choice that was made was going to be made before it was made. And now right now, the Lord is blessing and helping. He told him how he was going to bless him and help him on and on. Lots of good things. Well, here goes Lot. But Chesley, this was a dangerous choice he had made. You know why he said dangerous? Because you looked, he was towards Sodom. Sodom was a very wicked city, and it was an awful choice that he had made, really. Because did they serve the Lord? No, they did not serve the Lord. Did he serve the Lord? I don't know how diligent he was about serving the Lord. I know this: he got himself in trouble. Here he was there, pitched his tent towards Sodom, and the next thing we know, he winds up in Sodom. But just, Chesley, as before, let's just tell you what happened before any of that. And the kings got together, and some of these kings all got together, and they had a big fight. They're going to hit the Lord. They had a war. It was an awful war that started out, and it was awful how there was all these bunch of old tar pits, and some of those kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled, and they fell into those tar pits. And some of the ones that survived, they headed for the hills. And, they took all of the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah and all their food supply, and they left. Now you're going to be in the nest, and now what about this guy? What about his nephew? What about Lot? Lot was captured. Oh, it was a horrible thing. They took Lot, Abram's nephew, and his possessions and departed, and by now he was living in Sodom. He was just so dangerous. It looked so good. It did look good, Chesley. Oh, that was a nice place for his livestock. They could enjoy all those lush pastures. Look how nice it was. But then he was near Sodom. It was a very wicked place. And now here we find out he was living, and that was an awful thing. He was living in Sodom. Now that's where he had gone. Now he was in a mess. He needed help. A fugitive came, a person that had managed to get away, and they came to Abram, and they told him, and he told him that I think he began to sob. He probably did sob. He was probably crying, thinking, oh no. He had been concerned about him because he knew how close to that city he was. It was so wicked. He worried about the wickedness, probably very concerned with that. And now he found out he's actually been captured. Everything that he has is gone. And it says that they took all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah and all the food supply and left. It was an awful time. So this fugitive had come. This was a man that had managed to get away. He didn't have a place to live now. He had lost everything, but he managed to get away, and he had notified Abram. So Uncle Abram found out about it. oh my, they said, we've got to do something. Well, what they did, the ones that stood friends with him, they all bound together and they said, let's go help him. Here they are. Here comes the army. How many do they have? 318 is what Abram had. He said, let's get out here and we've got to help them. So went together and they began to pursue these people. You know, they're going to sue them? No, Chesley, they was chasing after them. That would have been a better word. And they went after them. They divided their force at nighttime. Well, they got their forces divided and their servants, and they defeated that enemy. And they got everything back that had been taken. They brought back also Lot. They got him and all of his things. Oh, God was good to him because you know what? He had Uncle Abram. Uncle Abram was faithful and true to him. You know what? He makes me think of how God is faithful and true. Even when you get into this. Yes, Chelsea, when we get into hard situations sometime, we can call on the Lord. He hears us wherever we are. What if you're in like a dungeon? He can hear. Chelsea, he knows. We just cry from our, we didn't even have to say it out loud, but he knows us. He hears us. He has he had good ears. Yes, he has good ears. He has a heart for us. He loves his people. They brought back all of their goods, brought back the relative Lot with his possessions, and all the women and all the people were back safe. And it was because of Abram. We've already mentioned that, but because of Abram and his love and his concern. And Chesley, you know what I just noticed? What did you just notice? It wasn't just the Lot, it was the others. That's right, Chesley. It wasn't just for Lot. He didn't say, well, I'm going to rescue him and I'm going to get all his possessions back, everything he owns, but I don't care about you. No, I tell you what, you had the love of God. It was the love of God. It makes me think of like God is love. He reaches to all. He reaches to help. And some people don't let him. Some people don't let him. You're exactly right. But I love how that Abram was so kind. This was his nephew. It wasn't even his son. And he didn't have to do it. He didn't have to do it. He could have said, I'm not going to do it. He's on his own. He made a bad choice. But he didn't. He was there for him. And I believe that Lot appreciated it. Chesley, I'm glad for this example that we have. And that means we need to do like that. We need to be like Abram. He didn't even have to take this nephew. He didn't even have to help him. He could have just said, no, I don't have time for him. Let somebody else take him. He would have maybe been orphaned and been out on his own. But he took him. And even with all the issues he had, he loved him and he defended him. He defended him. And Chesley, I'm so glad that the victory was won that day because of Abram's faithfulness. And because I'm glad that word got to. I'm glad Lot let him. Some people just say, just leave me alone. I'll figure this out. But he didn't. He realized, he thought, I'm in a jam. I need some help. Yes, he was in a big jam, and he had help. I'm so thankful that the Lord helps us, Chesley. Let's remember that we can call on the Lord. Sometimes we make maybe a bad decision, but let's come to the Lord. Let's repent. Let's ask the Lord to forgive us. Don't do that again. Love the Lord and serve him and appreciate him and his goodness. We don't want to just say, well, I'll do whatever I want to do and the Lord's there. We don't want to feel like that we're going to treat the Lord like that. But we love him. And when you love somebody, you treat him with kindness and you do the right thing. You do the right thing. That's right. Love wants to do the right thing. But when love knows it's done wrong, we've missed it, or we do. You confess it and you sinned and you need the Lord to help you. You need the Lord to forgive us. That's right, Chesley. So Uncle Abraham came to the rescue. Uncle Abram. Later his name was changed to Abraham, but Uncle Abram here to the rescue. And Chesley, we can be like that sometime to a person. I don't understand. Well, Chesley, maybe they've made a wrong decision, or maybe they're having some real issues and hard things. And what we can do is pray with them. We can be there. Even if you're not their relative, it doesn't matter whether you're their relative or not. When we find out they have a need, we can begin to pray and believe the Lord for them to help them. And if there's something we can personally do for them, we can do that. Chesley, that we can be like Jesus. To be like Jesus. Yeah, there is a song that says that, to be like Jesus. That's what we want to be, is be like Jesus. Uncle Abraham to the rescue. So Chesley, we're thankful for this story and this great truth that it is a true story. And Chesley, right now I have a true story for you. It's your bedtime. Oh, I knew it was coming. I don't even need to go to sleep because I have another story. You have another story? Oh, no, you don't, Chesley. You've got, I get a train load. I know you got a train load, but we only tell one a week. So right now, it's time for you to get ready to go to bed. Tell everybody goodbye. And look at my medals. Yes, Chesley, Kai gave you his medals. I know. Yes, he earned them. You're not wearing them. That's right. You're wearing them for him. We appreciate him sending those. So we want to say a big thank you again. Thank you, Kai. Appreciate it very much. I don't think he nailed it. I think Laura did. I imagine Laura did too. So we thank her for what she did too. Right now, it's time for you to go to bed. I think you're doing a stall job. Oh, you got me. All right, kids. I'll see you next week. I sure do love you. You had a very good rest of the day, and you serve the Lord with joy and gladness, and be good in school. That's right, Chelsea. That's good information. All right, we'll see you next time. We love you bunches. Next Sunday afternoon, the Lord willing, we'll catch you here.